Hello everyone. As you probably could figure out, today I'm going to share with you a story about agile leadership and technical mastery. Probably we have lots of agile leaders in this room, agile coaches, scrum masters, maybe agile heads. I don't know how about you, but whenever I start working with a new team, then I expect that this time is going to be software heaven. That this time, what I mean by software heaven, well, that this time team delivers value, that people will be highly motivated, tech that does not exist, release process is fast and smooth. And then comes the reality. So today I'm not gonna tell you about heaven. Today I'm gonna tell you about 7 scenes of software development on the example of, let's call them clean coders team. This is one of the teams that I had the pleasure to work because it was really a great team because they wanted to change a lot. But unfortunately, yes, there were some scenes. So let's start from the first one. Environment with lots of external dependencies. So in clean coders, as you can see, this was a front-end team. So we needed UX designers. Unfortunately, UX designers were in a separate team, and whenever we wanted something from them, we had to create a Jira ticket. Yes, they had their own backlog. The same with API, so backend team. They also had their own backlog. So once again, if you want something from us, please create us a Jira ticket. Probably now you are wondering, what about architect? No, he didn't had his own backlog. Actually, getting access to this person was almost impossible because architect was supporting many teams. So, what did I do as an agile leader? First, one of the UX designer was moved to clean coders permanently, so it was a great success and a little bit simpler picture. The other thing was the API team. It would be great if we could have a backend guy in clean coders team. However, it was impossible, so there was a compromise. API team assigned one person who will support us, in a better way. A small improvement, but I guess it was in the right direction. What about the architect? Well, it was knowledgeable guy, so we asked him if he could share knowledge with us and teach us how to make good architectural decisions. And actually, yes, we succeeded. After a while, we were able to make good architectural decisions. So I would say it was a partial success, not a full success, but yeah. Okay, let's move on to the second scene. Developers are excluded from product discovery and contact with users. It may sound strange, PO should take care of those things, am I right? But on the other hand, it has been proven that people who know the purpose, who know what value brings their work, actually are highly motivated. So, what we did. And clean coders, we involve developers in the discovery process using dual track approach. In dual track approach, we have this product discovery track where we have users, of course, also product owner, UX designer, and we added their developers. Of course, they were rotating, so there was a representative of developers. Whenever we had something ready to develop, then it went down to the product delivery track. And this approach raised awareness of the product within developers, and the developers themselves admitted that this had a positive effect on the quality of their work. Yeah. Probably you are wondering, were they producing less code or less features? Probably yes. It's worth mentioning here the research is done by Pendo. The studies show that 80% of features in average software products are rarely or never used by users. So in the clean code coders, we tracked the usage of the features, usage index, and we also deleted code that actually didn't bring value to our users. I believe that every team should ask this question from time to time: how many features we removed from our app in the last year? Let's move on to the next scene. No continuous integration and continuous deployment. So when I joined this team, I asked them question: how painful is the release process for you? Please rank this on a scale from 1 to 5. And the answer was on average 3, so it wasn't good. As you probably know, in Agile world, the working software is the only measure of the progress, so it would be good to have a really fast and smooth delivery process. I started talks about CI/CD, and we also advanced our increased automated test coverage to 80%. However, at the end of the day, this whole initiative was stopped by someone with authority, so in this case, I failed. Let's move on to the next scene. Neglecting AI-powered developer support. Agile leaders are responsible for improving the effectiveness of development teams. What do you think about 26% increase in developer productivity? Please raise your hand if you think that it's worth a try. Okay, and who thinks, it's too little? Okay, thank you very much. Yes, majority of you raised the hand that it's worth a try. So, in my opinion, it's a huge, and often you can't achieve this simply by improving Scrum events. Research done by MIT, Princeton, and University of Pennsylvania showed that actually developers that were using GitHub Copilot, the most common AI tool that is supporting developers, resulted in a 26% boost in developers' productivity on average. Of course, there were also some other benefits that are listed on the slide. So, coming back to Clean Coders team, how did it go? Of course, we had a very strong battle with security department. I don't know why, they don't like AI tools. But finally, they started using GitHub Copilot, and I must say, it was amazing. Of course, I didn't measure it, but I believe that the increase in productivity was even more than 26%. Okay, so let's move on to the next scene. Ineffective use of source control management tools. Of course, in Clean Coders, we had pull requests and we had code review practice. How did this work? I believe this is a common process. You know, pull requests wait for someone to review the code, and if issues are found and the reviewer puts some comments, then the author puts some comments in the tool, and sometimes we can get hundreds of comments in Git tool. Meanwhile, of course, the finished code is waiting, so it's not very effective. By the way, what's the longest comment discussion on a single issue in GitHub? It's a very small font, so maybe you don't see it. It's 2,800 comments under one issue. No meeting, just comments. So, answering this question that is on the top, is there anything better than most common pull requests and code review? Yes. So first of all, trunk-based development. Of course, it requires some preparation, so it's not that easy, so we skipped it. However, peer review appeared successful in this team. What is peer review? Actually, instead of having this code review by comments, two developers are meeting each other and they are discussing the context of the change, the code that was created, and replies are immediate as the conversation face to face. Probably it's very agile, yeah, if we talk to each other. Okay, and the other thing was pair or mob programming. And actually, yeah, if we were using pair or more programming, then the code review was not needed. But this actually brings us to the next scene, avoiding pair programming or mob programming. In the Clean Coders team, pair programming rarely happened. When I joined this team, Laurie Williams' research found that yes, it takes a bit more time in pair programming to create a code. However, the quality is better, and I guess the best thing is that developers who paired reported much higher satisfaction and enjoyment of the work. So the conclusion is very simple. If you want to have a happy developers, please allow them pair programming. I also encourage Clean Coders to try mob programming. However, they didn't like it. So in this team, it didn't work. Yes, I think it was kind of a success. Let's move on to the next, and actually the last one. Ignoring technical debt. On many meetings, in conversations with developers from the Clean Course team, I could hear things that you can see on the slide. Unaddressed technical debt leads to slower development. And actually, sooner or later, people will refuse actually write a new code in a very messy environment. So in the code clean, what we did, actually, we have listed all of the modules that we had in the app, and developers rated the level of the technical debt, as you can see, yellow, red, and green. And of course, it is very important. We agreed also with product owner that 10% of the sprint's capacity will be dedicated to refactoring. Okay. After 1 year, after 1 year, actually, I didn't hear any complaining about technical debt. I believe we get rid of all of the red modules. The code was rewritten. Okay. So, as you can see, this is the path. This is the path of Clean Coders team that I had the pleasure to work with. There were some scenes, of course. We couldn't fix all of them. Here you can see also yellow and red. But technical excellence and development process effectiveness are often left to the developers with the hope that they will do something about it, that they will deal with it. Based on the example of Clean Coders team and their path through those major software pitfalls, I wanted to show you that technical change can, or maybe even should, be also addressed by Agile leaders. Who knows better than Agile leaders that continuous attention to technical excellence and good design enhances agility? Thank you very much, and I hope we'll stay in touch. You can find me on LinkedIn. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for this one. By the way, if you want to convince your team for more programming, there is a keynote coming tomorrow in the afternoon, so you can hear this one. Thanks very much. I have one question. My assumption is because a lunch is coming, that's why they are too afraid to ask the question, because we can continue over the break. So anyway, I'm going to go with this one. How was the issue with intellectual property rights solved with using AI?
This is a very good question. Actually, I was not involved, with all of the discussions with security department. I had support from great managers. So, yeah, I don't know how it was dealt. However, believe me or not, in many companies, AI tools like GitHub Copilot are used. So there must be a trick.
Amazing. Some people also use CI/CDs in some companies, but that's a separate story. That's a crazy. Okay, one more question. Whoa, you started asking the question. Lovely. So we have more time. Okay, so one more question. Do you think that 10% for refactoring is too much when we can refactor using AI? I love this one.
No, I think if you have a really buggy software, if you actually have a very high level of the technical debt, then I would say that even 10% might not be enough. Just to have a continuous of the business, because sooner or later, and I've seen it in the past, that if you don't deal with technical debt, then sooner or later someone will come up with a great idea. Maybe we should rewrite this app from scratch. Or maybe we should do something else because it's impossible to develop this app anymore. And of course, you can also use AI to refactor this app, and it is helping a lot.
There's a delay. Thank you very much for this one. Just a question. 10% can be a little not enough, especially if you haven't been doing this for like 10 years. It's like, washing your dishes. If you haven't forgot to wash the dishes for the last 10 years, AI might not be helpful in this case. Okay, we have a few more seconds, so I will go with the next one. This was already asked. They're moving, sorry about that. Are the devs learning and growing professionally at the same rate we're using AI? That's interesting.
Could you please repeat the question?
Sure, with a little delay. Are the developers learning and growing professionally at the same rate when using AI? So I believe the question is about do they slow down when they use the AI or no?
No, I think in reverse. I would say that their competencies grow. Believe me or not, but yes, AI is a great tool, but it's not a perfect tool yet. It makes mistakes, so developers need to correct those mistakes. Beside of that, the code generated by tools like GitHub Copilot is really very professional, and sometimes I believe they can also learn how to write something in a very fancy way.
Thank you. Sorry for those delays, but I need to turn it on. Okay, the last one, I promise. How do you collect feedback from your teams on what works and what not? Only retros or one-on-ones with team members as well, or anything else?
Yeah, so I was collecting this feedback regularly using Spotify model. I don't know if you know this. There is just simple questions. Probably I talk too much. Very simple pattern. One of the questions actually was on the slide. How smooth is the release process? How painful? How painful is the release process? This is coming from the Spotify model health check. That's how it is called.
All right, thanks very much. You can find Marcin on LinkedIn and during the lunch. Thanks once again for Marcin.
Thank you very much.